Welcome to another episode of Leaders Having Lunch, the show where we talk with leaders and listening to their journey of what made them so successful. And today we're going to talk a little bit about employee engagement. Many times I'm asked about how I created engagement within the organizations that I ran. And I really wanted to create a program for team members to go through, so we all have a level playing field, a common language, a place to start from, references that we all start from. So way back, I was looking for a training program to put my team through, and I couldn't find one. I went to the local colleges, I went to local motivational speakers, I went to local training centers and asked what kind of training programs they had. And it wasn't what I was looking for. Until one day my director said to me, "You have a degree in leadership, why don't you create one?" So 30 years ago, when my wife was getting her degree in business management and communications, she was reading a book called The Disney Way. I've long been a fan of the Disney leadership style. It's got to be a perfect leadership style in order for a handful of people to oversee 75,000 employees like at Disney World. So I started reading The Disney Way. The Disney Way book is a very good book. It's very business, it's very philosophical, and it really does lay out the groundwork if you want to run an organization like Disney. And so I created a 12-week program for my team. I would take 16 team members at a time, and we would read the book, and we'd read a chapter a week. And it was very good, and we would come back every week and talk about the chapter and how we can integrate that within our own organization and what kind of ideas they could come up with. It was a very good book. It wasn't a fun read, but it was a good book. Then I came across this book by this guy, this author named Lee Cockrell, and he wrote a book called Creating Magic. And I read that book, and it was a fun read. It was a good read. There was lots of gold nuggets in it. So I started using that as the textbook for my leadership program that I put together. It came across with my staff really well, and they got excited about it to the point where they were handing their book off to other people because it was such a good read. If you have not read Creating Magic, I highly recommend reading Creating Magic. Lee has also written other books, 3 other books called The Customer Rules, Time Management Magic, and Career Magic. All 4 books are fantastic. Highly recommend them. So anyway, so I wanted to go into this leadership program with the mindset of anyone who can influence change is a leader. I believe anybody is a leader. You don't have to have the title to be a leader. It can be anyone who can influence change. And I also believe that leadership is not golf. When you're shooting that 10-foot putt, you don't get where you kneel down and look at the slope of the terrain, and you're throwing grass in the air and checking the wind, and you're taking your time. That's not leadership. Leadership is polo. Leadership is riding on the back of a horse who is in full gallop, swinging a 6-foot mallet trying to hit a 3-inch ball. That is leadership. So I wanted to create a leadership program that would change culture and to get those people who don't believe that they're leaders, that they truly are leaders and they can be leaders. So that's the mindset I went into. One of the first things I wanted to push was we wanted to create incredible customer service. There's a thing called the chain of excellence. Is if you have great leadership and you have great staff and you have an amazing product, the money will come. Well, I really focused on great leadership and a great staff because I already knew we had an amazing product and the money would be there if we took care of the first 2. So we started doing that. So we kind of had the attitude of do what you do so well that people can't resist telling others about you. You want to create customer service so exceptional that people have no choice but to talk about you. And that was one of the things I wanted to put across with the staff. We worked really hard on customer service and always taking an extra few minutes to exceed expectations, make an extra phone call, go the extra step, walking that customer to the next person. Don't just say it's over there, or don't say, we tried really hard not to say words no, can't, or won't. No, we won't help you. No, we can't help you. No, we just those types of things. We worked really hard on doing that. So we wanted to provide customer service so exceptional that people had no choice but to talk about us. I really wanted to work hard on empowering the staff. Now, that's an elusive thing to do. A lot of people say, I want to empower my staff, so just go ahead and do it. I get people who will ask me when I consult, hey, can you come in and do a presentation and empower my staff? Empowering your staff is a cultural thing. It starts from the top down. It is permeated throughout your whole company. It's not just a 2-hour PowerPoint presentation and then you are all empowered. It's a trust that is between not only supervisor to employee, but employee to employee. It's a trust factor. We used to do things like kudos. We had a website or an email address that team members could send an email to kudos at our company's email address. If an employee saw another employee doing something good, it was fun. So they got a neat kudos bar. We asked the staff to create their own code of conduct, and they did an exceptional job doing that. They did such an exceptional job that we created 2-foot by 3-foot posters and put them all over the company. Each department created their own mission statement. That was so much fun. That was a team building thing, and that was a trust thing. We did put together a company newsletter that we put out twice a month, where we talked about not only administrative things, but we talked about motivational things, and we talked about stories, and we talked about success stories and health and safety things, and those types of things that the employees really needed to be made aware of. Part of the leadership program was we created a program called the Gong Show. Is that when we had these 16 people around the table on week 1, we told them to pair up, and they were going to create a full-on business presentation in one of 3 areas. And that's either a money-making idea, modifying a program, or creating a new program. But it was a full-on business plan that they were going to present. And the program had to be, what's the budget going to look like? What's the staff going to look like? What kind of timeline is that going to look like? And if the team liked it, then those 2 people got to lead that project. And 99% of what was going on in the companies I've been at, our staff created, which makes it an empowering place to be. What was really fun was it started off just presenting to 16 people, and then we started getting alumni, and then alumni would come in and want to watch the Gong Show presentations, and then the board would want to come in and want to watch the presentations, and the presentations were done on any medium they wanted. If they wanted to just do straight up handouts, they could do straight up handouts. If they wanted to do PowerPoint or flip charts or whiteboard or whatever they wanted to do to present their idea, but it was their idea because they were the people on the front line. They were the people that knew what they needed, not the directors who are overseeing the program. We just see it from our side of it. We're not the ones actually implementing it. So it was really important for them to do that. The other thing we did is our organizational chart was not a top-down hierarchy chart that shows the different levels of bureaucracy that employees have to go through. Ours was a circular. There was a great book put out a while back called the Web of Inclusion, and the author is escaping me right now, but it's called the Web of Inclusion, and it's fantastic, and it really does show the true flow of communication in an organization. It doesn't go top down. It goes top down and sideways and diagonally and circular. And there's all sorts of communication that goes within an organization. And the Web of Inclusion really did do that. The other thing we tried to tell the team was they were our ambassadors in the community. Wherever you work, you're in it 100%. And it's a 24/7, 365 job. It's not just a 9 to 5 job. And I apologize for that. But when you're working within the community, you are a community figure, and people know who you are, and people recognize you. We really told them not to wear their uniforms if they're going to be visiting evening establishments, if you will, because that's not what you want your company to be known for. If something goes bad, you don't want somebody wearing your company logo on their hat or their shirt. But they were our ambassadors within the community. And the last thing I really wanted to push with the staff was you got to have fun. You got to have fun with what you do, or it's not worth doing. I firmly believe that. We used to say all the time, we take our jobs seriously. We take our jobs incredibly seriously. We just don't take ourselves very seriously. So those are some of the things that I tried to do with our leadership program that we did. It was very successful, so successful that for-profit businesses outside in the community wanted me to come in and put it on for them. And that's what I'm doing now as part of my consulting, is I'm putting on leadership programs for-profits. And it's been a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. There really is no difference between for-profits and not-for-profits. The only difference is nonprofits are tax exempt. They're still a business. So one thing I'm going to leave you with is leadership is not about titles, position, or salary. It's about responsibility. And that's the thing we tried to drive home to our team all the time. This has absolutely, me being the CEO of a nonprofit or CEO of the organization means nothing. It just means that I sign the checks and I take all the responsibility. My job is to make them successful, and I want them to enjoy their jobs and to enjoy their workplace. So that's kind of my little secret on how to develop a leadership program and create culture within an organization. So until next time, thank you for tuning in. And remember, leadership does begin with a relationship. Have a good day.